Good Life Gang, Future 4200, Long Beach, California 420 celebration and mini conference. I'm Sidco Cat and Catherine Sidman, and I'm super excited to be here. We are talking about filtration media, and we have some really, really smart people on the panel, and I'm excited about it. So I want to let everybody introduce themselves. We'll start ladies first. Jessica, grab a mic and introduce yourself and then pass that along. It's up to you.
My name is Jessica Watson. I am the sales director for carbon chemistry, and I have been there 3 years.
Thank you. Kyler.
My name is Kyler. I am one of the co-founders of Media Bros, and yeah, just been promoting granular filtration.
My name is Sean Duffy, and I am the general manager at Media Bros. And yeah, I just kind of run the show over there.
My name is George, better known as Waxplug to you guys, and I'm also a co-founder of Chemtech.
Hi, my name's Chris, and I'm also one of the co-founders of Chemtech.
And shout out to Waxplug for using his forum handle, because it helps us keep track of who we are. And my favorite part of all these meetups is like getting a face with somebody. I mean, a lot of times it's like a customer or somebody in another business, but when it's people on the forum that you're going through these threads and having the conversation, I love meeting people in person. So it's awesome. You bet. Well, we're excited. This conversation is going to be really exciting, and I want to keep it real. The people that are listening to us today and who are going to be listening to us in the recorded content are trying to pick a vendor. And so I'm going to ask you a really dumb question first that I already know the answer to, and I'm going to point this at Sean or Kyler. Is the media that you have the same as what carbon chemistry and Chemtech are selling, or is it different? Are we all grab a mic and
Yeah, our media is fundamentally different. We were the first company to introduce a granular media into the space, and the idea behind that was we wanted to produce faster flow rates, lower system pressures across the board for people that are processing. And we also wanted to sort of demystify some of the CRC processes or the color remediation processes in the industry and make it easier for people starting out or people with a wide range of biomass with problems associated with that older biomass to give them either a one media solution or an A/B mix solution for those processes. So yeah, it is definitely a little bit different. It's also different in some of its composition, and then it's also different in how we approach the market space.
Jessica, speak to that as someone who shares a space with Media Bros and has overlaps and not. I mean, if there's a Venn diagram, you guys are not. You guys share a little and then not. So speak to that.
I think that people think that we are in the same space, but that we sell a lot of the same things. They're right. CRX and CRY are different than a lot of the products that we offer. We like to kind of cater to everything in the industry when it comes to no matter whether you're using hydrocarbons, ethanol. We want to be able to help and support everybody, right? Because it's about the processor. That's first and foremost. It's about the community, and it's about the end customer and the user, right? Like, we want to make sure that we are providing safe products to people and at an affordable space. And I think that they have a space where it makes sense for them with CRC. We kind of came into the space, and MagSeal was our first product, and we wanted to help people remediate pesticides. Yeah. I mean, when we first came on the market, microbutyl was a heavy pesticide in California that people were really battling and having to throw away a lot of their product just because they didn't know how to save it. And then here comes MagSeal PR. Yeah. And so CRC kind of came to us by a storm, really, when we first started, right? Like, we didn't know people were using T5, T41, activated alumina, silica to do that process. We just saw our sales go from one side to the other. We just saw this spike and like, wow, you know what I mean, right?
I want to
Like,
hear. I want to hear from George and Chris about. Yeah. Talk to me about all of this.
So I feel like we always took a different approach to it since my background was extracting. I was one of the ones that started the CRC movement on the forum. And
Why? What's the point of CRC? What is it, and why do I care?
it's just grabbing impurities. You want to purify your oils. You don't want to smoke that nasty stuff. And people didn't know better, you know, until they became aware of what it's doing. Of course, at first, as you guys saw, there was a lot of misconceptions. People were saying we're using bleach and random things, you know, and until all the truth came out, it's just adsorption. But it's happening on more different levels, and that's what we're focusing on, because we have a lab where we extract every day, and we encounter different problems with different material. We don't always get the best material. We don't always get shitty material. It depends on the type of work we're doing, whether it's toll or for us. So we feel like if there is always a different scenario, you're always going to need a different media to approach this scenario to be able to help you better get the end result you're trying to get to.
There's a range of applications, isn't there? And if we consider that range starting out in remediating dangerous product, right? We're back at MagSil and we're at pesticide remediation, all the way to aesthetic value, like market value. Chris is nodding. Hand him the microphone and he's going to speak to this whether he likes it or not. But it's almost like, I'm a surgeon. Well, what kind of surgeon are you? Like an open heart, are you a brain surgeon, or are you a plastic surgeon, or are you doing elective surgeries? Like where are you on the spectrum? But it's all has to be, I mean, it's surgery, right? It doesn't matter if it's like voluntary elective surgery or it's open heart surgery. It needs a level of accountability and cleanliness for the customer, right?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds to me like we all feel that same way in our approach, and that we want to create products that help the customer and help the end user. And we very much so feel that way. I mean, we have, I think, 17 different medias for just to that point, is that there's a variety of approaches that you need to take. And so you need to have a variety of tools to do that, as well as the industry is still very young too. We're going to discover a whole bunch of new medias for very specific applications as well. And so, yes, there's tools a surgeon would use, like a butcher, and and that can cover a wide swath of products. And then you might want some more real fine tailored products too. So it's good to have that opportunity.
Do you find in your customer base, do you know your customer? Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to ask all of you guys this. Is your customer, for the most part, chasing purification of, like, contaminated, I'm saying contaminated because I can pesticide contamination, right? Purification of material, or a standard for marketing and like aesthetic and shelf appeal, curb appeal to the customer? What do you think?
Honestly, I think it's both, because I think that
But what percentage? Tell me, is it like 50-50, or are both people doing both things? Is there no difference?
We might be a slight bias, because our main seller up until this point has been W1, and W1 is really known as a, terpene retention, real high quality product. And so the majority of our customers would say then that we're looking for a media that can provide us, the best remediation in color, or a high level of remediation in color, a high level of terpene retention, and a high level of impurity remediation. So, I mean, our customers would say that, but then we also get the ones that buy heavy on the B80, or the lower price kind of, economical media. So it really is a wide swath, because you get the material that's just garbage, has no smell. You're really just trying to make like a crystalline product out of it. So you're really just looking to get the color right,
Just getting what's there.
Then you get that real nice indoor, fresh frozen material that you really want to preserve everything. You really want to...
Chris, I want to ask Chris a question. Chris, can I grab a microphone somewhere? Why is it not okay to say, sometimes I get a product that all it has is some THC in it, everything else is shit, there's no terpene profile, there's nothing else, I'm going to get what I can get and process it and move on? That is not what we're supposed to say. What we're supposed to say as extractors in the industry is, it's only top tier, it's only this, it's only the very best. Like, the reality is, we are not going to be in business if we don't get the cannabinoids where we can.
Yeah, I think Kyler might be able to speak to
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, so I mean, really, obviously, running the highest quality fresh frozen is the most ideal, fun product to extract, but it's unrealistic to think that farmers across the board are going to be able to supply that product for you all year round. And not to mention, there's right now there's supply chain gaps in the industry, getting it from farm to extractor. That takes time. There's lots of steps. So you don't want to penalize the product or the farmer for having just some high quality biomass, but might be aged, where it comes out a slightly darker color. Sure. And then, with the CRC and like products like CRX and, what we sell that can just turn that product back into, its high quality, take away the slight decay from age and make that a highly desired product again.
Jessica, speak to those things. I know you've been making notes, so let me hear it.
I kind of want to go back to what Chris said on the end because he makes a valuable point. I always call it an iceberg. Mm-hmm. Like you can see the top part, but there's always that layer below that you never really see, right? And so that is kind of how the customer base kind of is broken into, right? You have all of your maybe legitimate high processing labs, right? But then you also have, a little bit of the black market, let's just say it, right? And so the black market funds a lot of the industry. I mean, that's who made us who we are, right? That's who made carbon chemistry.
There would not be an Ace Hardware in my county were it not for the traditional market. So props to the traditional market and everything they have done and continue to do for our industry.
Agreed, right? And so, but with that, that's what, I mean, honestly, Waxplug was one of the first people to kind of start using carbon chemistry medias, him, Dread Pirate, Murphy, Hobbs. Like, these were the people that kind of started off playing with medias. We used to have to beg people to say, here, try this. We'll give it to you free.
Well, George, speak to that, because one of the things you started off with is that people accused you of doing all sorts of terrible things.
When I first started,
so like dirty arm, not dirty hair. There's so many dirty boys, so many dirties in this industry. But dirty arm farm, has to go on Instagram and dab silica or whatever he did just to prove that it's not. So speak to that. Speak to the hesitancy.
I heard it
safety.
from the very beginning, since I was probably like the only one in my local neighborhood making CRC wax. So I got instantly a lot of hate from the local people, and not everybody. There was a lot of people that supported.
I'll tell you what I tell all my kids: when they hate you like that, it's because they ain't you like that, right? And because they're jealous of what you got, honey. And that was true.
Back then, I had tried B80. Which was the bleaching clay that was available, and carbon. I was getting better results with carbon, a more brighter tangy color, until I realized B80 works a little different. You need to winterize first to get that water clear. But that's how it all started, basically moving on. It started with carbon, so people started seeing tangy, bright extracts, and then it went into water clear. But I heard it all from polishing turds to, like I said, using
can we talk about that for a minute? And let's be really real about it. So my husband grew up on a cherry orchard, right? All the cherries would go to the co-op. The most beautiful, perfect, impeccable, luscious, straight from the hand of God cherries got carefully packed in coolers and sent to Japan. Like, we never see that stuff. I'm just telling you that. And then the second grade, and then there's the third grade, and then there's those things that make maraschino cherries. Like, they're not right. There's a reason they have to bleach those and then dye them back red and pickle them, right? That is agriculture. That is anything. Think of any agricultural product. And I reject and I know that you weren't promoting that, but I reject the idea that I'm polishing a turd. And what I'm doing is I'm using product instead of throwing it away. I mean, the cannabis industry is the least sustainable industry ecologically in a million ways. We could talk about disposable products for a minute, but I mean, our carbon footprint is already so enormous. Why do we get all offended and bent out of shape when we're taking a product and taking a THC that we would have distilled from something anyway? It doesn't matter what else was in there, right? Somebody do something more than nod, because
Can
that's
I
not
say-
going to play
can I
on
say
me.
something?
Yes, do it.
Okay. Thank you.
I love your nodding, but it's not going to play on audio.
I'll say something. Well, I definitely agree with that, right? That is what it's supposed to be about, is sustainability. Not just, I mean, you're right. If I get another plastic tube for a joint or another container or something.
Little freaking glass jar.
The other day I got a
Please,
plastic
do this.
inside of a plastic. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't even know what to do with all this. But it is all about sustainability, right? Like when we talk about fresh frozen and things like that. So you're not throwing it away. I mean, Colorado is way behind California in certain things, you know, heavy metal and stuff like that. But, you know, we're just going to go live with like pesticides in July, and they won't even really test for them yet. When you're talking about being ahead of labs and stuff like that, you know, they won't even test for them. I'm trying to give people things so that they know how to save their products, so you don't have to throw away pounds and pounds and pounds of biomass, right? I want you to be able to reuse it. I want you to be able to make something good out of it.
And since when isn't that the good and right thing to do? There's a place for top shelf, indoor, beautiful, I mean, I prefer sun-grown, but beautiful indoor flower. There is a place for that, and I want to vape that flower, and I don't want you to process it into anything except maybe a little bubble hash, and Frenchie Cannoli touches it with his own hands. You know, like that's sacred. But there's a whole lot of other products that can be made, Kyler.
And it goes into affordability too for the customer.
Come on.
You know, that top shelf, there's a top shelf customer, and you know, sometimes those are the CRC haters. But the cleaning up the oil and giving a pure, better product to the consumer at a affordable price point opens up dabbing to a lot of people who can't afford to spend $20, $40, $50 on a single gram.
Chris, you said there was Sean, really quick, and then I'm going to Chris. Sean, you said there was a lot going on up there, and give me like 1% of it.
Yeah. Something that struck me earlier on is when we were talking about the supply chain issues, when people say there's crap coming in. And Kyler actually already answered it in some ways, which is that, you know, the thing that CRC provides the industry is, yes, the ability to pull impurities out of the cannabis oil, which is what we're going for. And we're going for primarily the chlorophylls, the phenolic resins, and then the pesticides. But all of those compounds that we're trying to clean up, they don't, as you guys point out, they don't detract from the cannabis oil. We're not adding anything to cannabis oil. And I think the people that look at CRC and are the real haters, and I'm going to call them out a little bit, are oftentimes the rosin guys, right? Because they want to just press the green plant, squeeze out an oil, and then smoke that. And there is a market for that. And they get to exist, and they get to live, and they get to be happy, and they get to enjoy their products. But then there's a space that doesn't like that rosin pressed oil. And they do want that, you know, that BHO extraction, because they are looking for that type of terpene profile. They are looking for that. And the tools that we provide to that industry enable, as Kyler also pointed out, the extension of the farmer to be able to produce a great biomass that is consistent from the beginning of the run to the end of the run when that material ages out. And it doesn't have to sit there on the field and rot on the stick. They can now store it properly and then still get the best product that they can possibly afford the market. I know Kyler wants to add something to that.
Well, I was just going to say on, the rosin, and like, yes, it has its fan base, it has its place, but I've talked to a lot of people who even like on an asthma and health level, BHO, especially purified, you know, is such an easier product to consume and less harsh.
Yes, there are reasons, and that's like, I like what I like, back down. You know what I mean? We don't all have to be, when are we going to get that it's not, that when everybody says hash and they make whatever they call that is good hash and it's safe and the consumer likes it and buys it, we all do better. Let's not fight with each other about whether or not that hash is water, which is a solvent, I hate to tell you, or dry sift or whatever else. Let's just make a clean product that the consumer likes and keep moving this industry forward. It's all you, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, to that point, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that like in any other industry as well, there's a variety of products that customers go to for a variety of reasons. And Filtered products are that same way. I mean, water, different oils, right? Like all these things have different levels of filtration and refinement. Beer, I mean, the list goes on. And one point that I wanted to make is I also think that it's not just for lesser grade material too. I mean, I think that we're so early into the industry too, that there's a lot of data to be had. There's a lot of studies to be done to really understand, like, what do people really, really think? Not just some speculative on the forum, but to really get data.
Not just speculating on the forum.
And there's a lot
back.
of
Step
data.
Back.
Yeah, of course.
You're in the forum's house,
Yeah.
little brother. No,
One thing
hear
I
you.
want to kind of bring up is, like he was saying, we're very young in the CRC process still. We think we're really advanced, but we're not. And one thing I'm noticing is every biomass is going to have a different contaminant, different size, and we have to understand what are the mechanics of what's going on in there. So a lot of these clays, they have different pH levels, they have different surface area, all to target a specific compound. So we need, on our side, we need to start kind of looking for how can we identify what are the compounds we're going to encounter, whether it's through age or color or smell. Because some of these terpenes, some of this biomass could have been sitting in storage for a while, so it's pretty fragile now. And if you use highly acidic media, you're going to make it go rancid. So you might want to try something like B80, or at least adjust your pH on the way out. So these are things that people are also haven't really looked at. They're just looking at removing color, and we need to kind of educate them more on, like, there's more going on, and there's still that us are barely touching on. We're all brand new.
Well, let's take off on that point, and let's have you all address this from a customer service standpoint. Sorry, guys. You okay, babe? I've been doing this all day. So, from a customer service standpoint,
Can we get her some water?
no, I got it.
Okay.
How many?
Look, you could take a break.
How many of your customers need that level of assistance with their process? Like, is it enough that they just like order a kilo of media from you? I mean, we can bring it down the table. How do you keep your product, which is a highly technical product with botanical inputs that are highly variable inputs, highly technical product that you're selling, pretty tight processes? How do you walk someone through that and not just be holding their hand forever and ever? Or do you do that? I don't know.
I mean, we
We'll
try our best.
We'll start with Chemtech down there.
There's a lot of hand holding. There's a lot of helping, but it also helps us network too. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have reached out with questions. I mean, there's a lot of people who want to talk to Waxplug. And, they reach out, they have a lot of questions, and they have a lot of questions.
Look, I slowed down. I'm not calling as often, but I just like to hear his voice every now and again, so I don't feel like you need to call me out on it on the forum. I want to talk to Waxplug. I mean, who doesn't? No. I meant calling your office. I was making a joke. Don't stop saying what you're saying. How do you support them with your product?
So I mean, I think it is a lot of conversation. It's a lot of improving SOPs and us continuing to improve our SOPs and release them. And it's a lot of we direct a lot of people to the forum. There's a wealth of knowledge there as well.
You got to do the work, though.
I have one thing to say. Like, one thing I'm noticing in biomass so far is the more, I think Future had touched on this, that they were saying sativa and indica. We have this kind of understanding that one gets you up, one gets you down. But
what on earth? Come on. Yeah.
What we're seeing is we're kind of thinking like that too, until we started seeing there's more fats, obviously, and more leafy biomass. So that's one factor that would kind of help you tell you. That's what I tell my customers. Like, if you're dealing with, like, say, Gorilla Glue, that biomass is usually very leafy.
Yeah.
So that would carry a lot more fats in it. So you're going to need something to help you remediate the fats, at least to get them out the way before you go into bleaching. And I mean, there's different approaches.
There's so many things.
And it matters really on what their operation is. If they're all about just production, they need to pump out as many grams as possible. They want to go as fast as possible. If they want to make really, like, the best product because they have a limited amount of biomass, then they would use different medias.
Well, and before we move on to Media Bros and Carbon Chemistry for their answer to this question, I want to really give credit where credit's due to Waxplug, because the information is there. If somebody's willing to read and to look, you don't withhold information from the community, and I just honor you for that, because it means a lot to a lot of people. Kyler, Kyler from Media Bros, Chemtech, and Carbon Chemistry. We're going to say the names of our companies.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
agreed to that, and none of y'all will do it. But we
Kyler from
agreed.
Media Bros here.
Thank
But,
you.
yeah, obviously, there's so many variables. It's hard to. We do the best we can to support our customers, but every customer, has a unique, different system. The way they process is different. But one of the steps that we've tried to do is simplify our product, and that is with CRX, CRY.
And that's what you're known for, really. It's fewer SKUs. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's
fewer
fair.
fewer SKUs, straightforward. This is what the sumbitch does. Like we're not having organic chemistry class right now. I have these products. This is what they do. Is that fair?
Very fair, and
And that's from the
one of our
outside, like
goals,
watching.
too.
So if that's what you're trying to communicate through marketing, good job. I got it. I got the message.
well, we appreciate. Yeah, we want to simplify the steps. We want to make it as safe and easy to use as possible, and we support our product the best we can.
Yeah, so let's talk about support for a second. I'm actually new to cannabis. I've only been in it about a year and a half or so.
But how long has it been in you?
What year are we in?
None of my business. Keep going.
Yeah, so I come from a very, very different world, a very highly technical world in the industrial automation field. And jumping into cannabis, one of the things that I recognized right away is that the range of users working in their labs with extraction equipment can range from having performed it for 20 years and gained that experience experientially. There are fewer people that are trained, scientists, engineers, chemists, but the vast majority of the users out there are people getting into it because they're passionate about it, people that are getting into it because they're trying to make a quick buck, and people that are getting into it because they want to make the best possible cannabis products that exist out there on the marketplace. And I think as a filter media supplier that addresses just one component of a very complex process, we feel very, very strongly that our objective is to support that entire range of customers, whether they are low information users, whether they are high information users or consumers. And how we approach the market is through equality. We don't cater to the high end or the low end with any specific deference. We try to give as much information about our product as possible so that they're successful. Their success is really what drives our business forward.
You sell a consumable product. I sell a one-hit wonder. You give me your $100,000, I sell you one thing, I don't hear from you for a year. I mean, I care about your success because I'm a nice lady. You care about it because you want a PO next month. I mean, you have to help them succeed because you are going to get feedback from your customers faster than I will.
Yeah, I mean, getting a PO next month is intrinsic to the nature of the type of business we're in. However, I think there's definitely from a value proposition standpoint about what we try to provide the market. I think that support goes a long way, and I think supporting our customers is recognized, at least in the industry so far, in that we don't hold back on sharing that information.
Nice.
We really try to enable them because we believe in what we're doing. And we also look at it, maybe it's just me, from a different perspective, which is that, there's always the next big thing out there that's going to try to gobble up this market.
Psilocybin.
It might be, right? But I'm really specifically talking in this case.
CRC works for that.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
That was Kyler from Media Bros. Finish your thought, and then I want to let Jessica chime in too.
So let's talk about also just briefly who extractors are. They are not big pharma, right?
Yeah.
And they are waiting in the wings trying to get into this market, but they're never going to quite figure it out because the cannabis industry is a groundswell movement that is unique, different, and quite frankly, they can't connect to. They're not going to get it. They're not going to get it right. So it's our job to make sure that this space is both productive, safe, moves forward, and innovates at its own pace without having some folks from Wall Street come down and just try to squash us and turn everything into like Bud Light.
Yeah.
We don't want that. That's not us. That's not the industry. And I don't think that's where the industry should go. So if the research and development is being done by us and we are then providing support to our customers in the best possible way, that means we move forward with better products, safer products. And I think that's the future.
Yeah,
So.
I like it. Jess. You know what, Jessica? When we announced this panel, we told Media Bros and Chemtech to each send one person, and they said, "Who's Carbon Chemistry sending?" And I said Jessica, and then they each sent two, and that was how this had to go.
That's how I
So,
got double teamed, right?
You have, I mean, look at them; they're all handsome. I'm not complaining or anything.
Me either. It's not a bad panel.
But I want to give you the floor for a minute, and I want you to speak to all these things. And, you know, what I love about Carbon Chemistry, and, you know, I love your management team, and I love your whole crew. Oh. Well, I mean, you guys are doing it. Like, I remember inviting Dustin to come stand in the Cascade. It wasn't even Cascade Sciences there, you know, or it was Cascade Botanical back in the day, to have Dustin come stand in the booth. And we had a little vacuum filtration Buckner funnel with some MagSil, and like only 10% of the people even got what we were talking about. But the 10% who did were excited as heck. They were down. And this was a long time ago. So talk to me about, how do you support your customers? What do you guys do? Tell me about where Carbon Chemistry is in this space.
I think it kind of goes back to the history of carbon chemistry. Kind of like we were, like you said, one of the first people to really bring medias as an extraction solution to the industry. Do you know what I mean? And shout out to Shadow Knight, you know, I gotta rep him. But that's where our first support came from, right? Was him like saying, okay, this is what we can do. This is what you need for this. And this is how we do that. And then him being on the forum, him being, you know, with the wax plugs of, you know what I mean, with the real extractors out there saying, like, this is what you do, this is how you process it. That's where we started, right? Like, we're a family organization. It's two brothers, right? That just were like, hey, we could do this. This is what the industry needs. And we're talking, you know, when he, you know, Shadow Knot started extracting like 2015, but we're talking, this was like 2017, you know, when this brainchild was kind of born. And so it's the way we've supported is through the forum, through things like making sure people may have posts, our SOPs, like our MagSil SOP was one of the first ones out there. I mean, we also have a couple heavy metal SOPs and brine wash, and these were before people really started using them. And so we've had to answer some crazy questions too that have probably made it easier for the rest of the panel sitting up there, right? I've had, if I get T5 in my eye, what's gonna happen, right? Like I've had the whole thing, like wear PPE, please, thank you.
Thank you.
And so we've had that, right? But it makes it so that all of the other people in the game now don't have to answer some of these sillier questions because we've supported it, because we've had people email us, what is this? What if we do this? What if we see this? You know, and a lot of it has just been us kind of, you know, like he said, you can walk them all the way through it, but you kind of have to let them swim too, because you can't speak for every variable. I'm not in your lab. I don't know how much you're pouring. I don't know what you're using. I don't know all of these things that happen, right? Because it's organic chemistry. One thing off and you change the whole molecular structure of everything. So we've never really gotten into the use this much of this and this much of this, but some of the standard things we know. But it's come from support from the community. It's come from, you know, the Murphy Murrays of the world. Like I said, you know, at Carbon Chemistry, say your name of your business.
That's right.
You know, we really love the people that are the processors. Like I said, we love anybody that uses our product and they show like, oh, look at how clear it got and look at all that. We love that, right? But our processors is what has made Carbon Chemistry what it is, arguably, right? It's the people on the forum processing it, saying, hey, look, how'd you do that? Oh, I use this much T5, or oh, I use this. That's how we first discovered what CRC was. Like I said, it was because people were like, we had to go look, like, why are our sales spiking? Like, let's go look on the forum, right? That's why, you know, we are the future. That's why it's the perfect name for it, right? Like, we are supposed to be doing things to show people the other states that haven't come online, right? Like the best practices, because you can go to some places like Oklahoma and they don't want the clear stuff. Color isn't their game yet, right? Like,
No, they're not picky yet. You had them at
No.
weed, you know?
Yeah.
We want mids. That's what we want. It's Oklahoma. I can buy mids. What?
you know what? You're like, shout out to Chris Berry at Makana Consulting, because he's in Oklahoma and he is one of our consultants. And he definitely has a struggle where he is like, people are like, oh my God, it's so clear, right? But it's like the diamond rush that happened, right? When everybody was like, oh my God, is that meth? Like, oh my God, it's, you know, like, when, you know, you had the DEA knocking down people's doors, you know, just for doing CRC, right? For making it really something. So that's the support, it's the community, you know? We definitely want to be like safe.
I want to start. We're going to kind of wrap it up, and I want to give you each an opportunity. So you're speaking to your potential customers, and it sounds lame, but your value proposition, what you think you're going to do, and then what's next on the horizon for you. What are you planning on offering next? What's upcoming? How are you innovating with for your customers? What are you anticipating they're going to need?
Chris with Chemtech.
You are
So
good, man.
I think our variety of medias that we have for our customers is a good reason to check Chemtech products out. We also are known for having, I mean, W1 is a great product. It's got a wide swath of qualities. It's backed by a company that really continues to provide information on best practices, as well as, you know, we've got a whole bunch of medias that we're going to be releasing here soon. So I'd say that, you know, it's good to have a variety of tools. I mean, not one media removes all pesticide, not one media removes all colors. It's just good to have a good variety of products. And that's what we aim to do, is create a whole variety of products that can help you in a variety of ways.
I love it. Thank you.
Just want to touch up on that, how Jessica was saying it all started with the forum. So just when I first made the water clear, I still didn't understand what was going on to the full extent, you know, but Shadow now had way more knowledge on that since he was more educated on that. So it's really like all of us started from a different starting point and sharing all. It was a group effort that got us there.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing like a couple threads pop up about a lot of clogs. So Media Bros came, and it's easy now. They don't have to deal with that. I had people call me like live, like, hey, you know, what do I do? I have a clog and it's 250 on their gauge. I'm like, dude, run away first. You know?
Run away first.
Yeah, so it's good that we're all kind of coming now and evolving and coming to understanding what are the main problems and how to fix them. And that's basically it, what I want to share.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, Sean again from Media Bros. Yeah, we're, you know, I mean, I think that the message to our customers is for one, call us. I mean, we're there for the support. We want to help you up. And I think it's really important to make sure that our customers understand that the products we are producing for them in this space, and I think that accounts for all of us here, is that they are made safe to consume, safe to use, safe to handle, safe to process with, especially from the extractor's health perspective. And I feel like in the future, I agree that there's going to be a lot more support being thrown their way. We need to help people out and show them how to guide them through this process. There's a lot of people that are still figuring it out, right? So let's hook them up.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Kyler with Media Bros here. One thing I just want to say is thank you to everyone listening in the community, and especially Future 4200, Solvent Direct for putting this on and putting this panel together. So, you know, you guys are why everyone at this table is here. And, you know, to what Sean says, call us. You know, we want to support you. We want to help you guys increase your profits and have better use of your biomass.
So since they have 2 people each
Yeah.
and they got to both say something, I get an extra time.
Times as long.
Yay! Thanks. So Jessica here with Carbon Chemistry, and I think that we're excited. Carbon Chemistry is like excited because they put some fire under us,
Okay.
right? You know, like you said, you want to have, you said you want to have a real conversation, right? So they put some fire under us because we had taken some time to kind of go back to the basics and kind of, you know, buckle down on supply chain. You know, when we went out of T41 and silica, that's what gave them like the opportunity to kind of be like, oh, hey, we can do this. And so we acknowledge that and we appreciate them for that, right? Like, thank you, all of you, because we got new things coming. You know, we just dropped lenticular filters, right? Because, like I said, we want to be in a wide space for everybody. Ethanol, hydrocarbons, doesn't matter. And then we have another new product coming out, you know, our Alumacell A, which is definitely, when he's talking about playing with pHs, we have, you know, that, and it's going to come with basic and neutral. So, and we've already had people doing R&D on it, and, you know, they're loving playing with those pH balances and kind of looking at the crash out that they can get of the Alumacell A. So we also have, I mean, there's some good stuff coming. I got Zeo Clear coming. I have MagSeal PR Fine coming. So when you're talking about granular for chromatography, but we still want to give you the same good product we've been serving to you, but we want to give it to all of the people that need it. So I got that coming. I mean, we're excited. May the 4th be with you. So look for the Alumacell drop on May the 4th. But we're really excited. We're here, you know, we're not going anywhere, right? And it may just be one of me, but there's like a whole force at home that's moving this bus, right? Like we can only spare me because there's a bus moving, right? There's the carbon chemistry train coming through. So we definitely believe in being safe, being clean, you know what I mean? Being pretty. That's what we want to make. That's what we want our products to do. Be safe, be clean, be pretty. That's, you know, I'm going to get that somewhere.
I think that needs to be some sort of slogan. Well, I appreciate you all so much. You're not seeing the chat on the panel, but somebody said there's a lot of brain power on that panel, and I just couldn't agree more. I think that what you guys do is important in terms of using the full breadth of the botanical product that's already consumed resources and like, let's utilize it. All of your businesses are obviously part of the Good Life Gang, you know, endorsed by this community. And, you know, Dustin takes that really seriously. The community takes that seriously. It's not because Dustin says so. It's because the 2 million people a month that are on the forum and in the community broader than that endorse what you're doing. And that says a lot. And so I really appreciate you all being here, and I wish you all the best, you know, in your business endeavors and your personal endeavors, and that we would have more of these conversations and we'd really see like how much you guys are going to contribute to the industry and how much the industry is going to contribute back to you personally and professionally. So thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you so much for having us.
thanks a lot. That was an awesome conversation.
Happy 420, everybody.
That's right.
Woo, woo, woo.